Power 96.5 FM on your dial. Our principal sponsor, of course, the Community Action Organization of Western New York, still fighting the war on poverty, now in our 53rd year. I want to welcome all of you again to this hour of insight, introspection, and interpretation of facts, events, and trends affecting you right here and right now in Buffalo and the Western New York community, and in fact, connecting to communities all across the country. Each week, we focus on things we think will be of interest to you, which will serve to motivate you and serve to connect you to the broader issues that affect our communities here in Western New York. Now, today's program is live, so you can call and you can join our discussion. I hope that you will. Our number here again is 837-1112. That's 837-1112. I want to take today's program to build on two related and connected ideas. First, I want to finish up on the discussion that we began last week about the Most Valuable Parent, or MVP, movement or initiative that is taking root in Buffalo. And second, I want to discuss how the Say Yes Buffalo initiative is impacting Buffalo High School graduates' post-high school success. Now, if anyone, I didn't get a chance to go, this was the meeting of the rally for the MVP movement. The second rally, that at least that I was involved with, took place at the Elam Christian Fellowship. I think it's Holden and help me out. I forgot the other street, but it's on Holden near Amherst in Buffalo, and the Elam Christian Fellowship hosted this initiative, and they were trying to focus on getting parents from the Central Park area to come to the rally. And what the initiative has been doing, it's led by Neil Dobbins and by Pastor Kenny Simmons, and of course the Peacekeepers and Stop the Violence movement and other similar kinds of organizations have been coming together in a coalition effort to try to bring parents together and help parents sort of become muscular in what they have to do in order to save our children. And obviously, we're not asking parents to go out and snatch people's kids up and pull them, off the streets. What we are asking parents to do is to work together to use collective activity to both ensure that our children are under governance all of the time, to ensure that we are not allowing, I'm trying to use better words, we're not allowing aberrant behavior to become normal amongst our kids. We don't want our kids, taking on the most negative attributes to themselves as if that's what's expected of them. What parents have to expect of their children is that they are going to succeed in every single thing that they do, academically and socially. And we as parents have to do everything in our power to put muscle behind that. How do we help ensure that that takes place? We spoke last week about the horrific homicides, and I'm sorry if anybody out there had a chance to attend the rally at Elam Christian Fellowship last Thursday. I think it was from 6 to 8 o'clock. Please call in. I don't know, I'm here with Emmanuel Radford, by the way, who does the live streaming of our program. If you want to participate in the program, you can use your handheld device or you can use your computer, type in Facebook, and then type in Living Now. The program will come up, and you can type in your questions, your concerns, or your observations, and we'll respond to them on the air. Emmanuel, where's the next meeting going to be? I couldn't pull it up from the information that I had, but hopefully we'll get that very soon. When we spoke last week about the horrific homicides that had taken place in the first couple of weeks of July, we talked about a movement emerging in which a group of people involved in anti-violence groups are recruiting 1,000 parents. That's their goal, to recruit 1,000 parents to help put an end to violence. They took on the name MVP, which has two ways of expressing the acronym. One is Most Valuable Parents, or MVP, and the other was Men Minus Violence Equals Peace. A very intriguing a way of using that acronym. The goal of the group is to saturate the community with positive messages while standing against violence. Hundreds of parents have already joined the movement, many of whom have already lost a loved one to homicide. If you want to get involved, write this number down. It's 903-5590. That's 903-5590. That's the number for the MVP movement. And you can obviously use your computers, and you can get information off of the internet if you type in MVP SOF Buffalo NY.org. That's MVP SOF Buffalo New York, Buffalo NY.org. Okay, so I'll come back and I'll hit that again before the end of the program. The organizers have been focusing on recruiting parents from neighborhoods across the city of Buffalo to act in our group self-interest. The actions parents and non-parenting adults can take and must take involving making themselves the standard that they want their children to live by. There are certain characteristics, I think, that have to emerge in what we do together. Parents, number one, have to accept the responsibility and the burden to find places where their children can recreate, where they can socialize, and they can engage in structured self-advancement and enrichment activities under the specific or general supervision of caring adults at any time the parent is not in the physical company of the child. So follow my paradigm. Your child leaves you. Nope. Okay. The child leaves you and goes to school. The child comes home from school. The child's got to come home to you. If the child's not going to be with you, you got to go take the child someplace where there are people that you trust. Let the child hang out over there. When they get done dancing or playing basketball, learning chess, learning karate, whatever it is your child is going to be doing, after school on a given day, you come and get your child, or you see to it that somebody comes and brings your child back to you. Then your child comes home, and your child is close to you, on your porch, in your house, on your block, close to you. If you do that, then your child will grow up expecting that that's what their life is supposed to be, that it's normal that they go to school, they mind people in school. When they leave school, they come back to a structure that their parents provide for them, and when that structured activity is over, they're home. Every day, all week, all month, every year, until the child is strong enough to be able to go out into the world, work, get their own place, get off my couch and get on somebody else, get on your own couch, right? And stop asking me for an allowance, work and create your own allowance. That's really what you're trying to get done. Churches or faith-based organizations have to use themselves to recruit activity coordinators and mentors and group activity supervisors using the community rooms at their churches or their faith-based organization as the locus where you bring people together. So if I'm not mistaken, there's at least 100, maybe 107 or so African churches in the city of Buffalo. There are at least 200 overall churches in the city of Buffalo, probably more in the city of Buffalo. So if every one of those churches could take, say, 40 kids on average, per night, they could provide structure. Now, some churches can take 200, right? And some may only be able to take 10. But I'm just saying, if on average, out of those 200 churches, you had 40 kids that were being provided with structured activity after school in the community room of that church, that would be 8,000 of the kids. Let me just help you with these numbers. There's 32,000 kids that are serving the Buffalo Public School District. You figure from kindergarten to 5th grade up to age 10, most of those kids, well, I've got to assume all of those kids, except the ones that are already in discipline trouble, are with their parents. They go to school. When they get out of school, they're going to some place very close to their parents. They're not going, on the west side. They're not going to West Seneca and whatnot. They're with their parents. So that population of kids, the parents will automatically and already have structure for those kids. You don't have to worry so much about having to create sort of a new institutional structure in the city for that population, because they're already under the care and close supervision of their parents. So now you take off that, you figure that's 6 grades is roughly 2,500 kids to a grade. So that's going to be something like 15,000 kids you don't have to worry about, right? That's the age 5 to age 10 child. You don't have to worry about that child because the parents already have a plan for how they take care of those kids. So now who we have left are the kids that are grades 6 through 12. So basically your middle school kids and your high school kids. And that leaves you, I said that was 8,000 off of 32,000, that leaves you 26,000 kids. You have 13 community centers in Buffalo, that are owned by the city. The CEO runs 3 of those community centers. Let's assume that we can handle around 200 kids per center per night. That's 2,600 kids. So that's 2,600 kids you take off of the 26,000 I just talked about. So that leaves you a little bit over 23,000 kids you still have to serve, right? Now, if we take the schools, this new thing they got, I know you probably never heard about this. It's been hidden, right? But they have these things in this area called schools that are owned by the public. They're called public school buildings. There's a reason. See, public is not like the name of a supermarket. I know sometimes we think it's like Publix supermarket. No, that's not it. Publix is not a franchise. Public is your school building. You own the school building, okay? Since it's your school building, you as the public have to go to the people that control your school building, and you have to say to them, you have to spring those school buildings back to us, okay? You got to allow them to be utilized by us as spaces where we can have our children in after-school activity under general supervision and sometimes tight, close supervision of caring adults. So if you've got, and we talked about, we were down to 23,000, a little bit over 23,000. If we take the school buildings, you got, say, 56 school buildings, so roughly 200 kids per school building. Now you're up in the area, I forgot what I came to there, something in the area of 11,000, or so, maybe 12,000 kids that you can serve in those school buildings, right? That takes that off of that 23,000. Now you look at the kids that are left, we have to find space. And I think I did my math wrong, because I did this where I was looking at, right. So I was looking at I'm sorry, we had 15,000 kids we didn't have to worry about, right? So to take them off of the 32,000, at least 17,000. You get 8,000, right, that get served by the after-school programs at churches. So now you take the 17,000 down to 9,000. You get 2,600 served in the community centers. So now the 9,000 is closer to 6,000. Then you get the schools to mount up spaces out of 56 school buildings, 200 kids per space. That's over 11,000 kids in the school buildings. You can see you have more than enough capacity for you to be able to provide after-school programming for every single child in the district. Now, where does the muscle come to do that? Well, I'm hoping that every church will be willing to go into their church population, into their congregation, and find people who are willing to come on Monday and man, some after-school program on Monday. Reading, chess, taekwondo, rites of passage, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever it is, maybe a combination of things, but you go to the people in your church and you say we're going to make our church space available between, say, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock or 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock or 6:30. We're going to make our church space available, and you recruit kids who come from the area community to come into those spaces. And then, you got to muscle up. So you got to have a little offering, somewhere along the path of the regular church offering. Got to have a little side offering where, we need another $3 or $4 from each one of you so that we can put some food in the mouth of these kids while they're here. We can put some paper plates there. I know that you all are against plastic straws and whatnot, so you've got to come up with another way to sip. But, we'll work that stuff out, right? But we have to get that done. I think that we can do that through the churches. I don't think we should have to go to MVP and have them try to figure out how to get the resource in churches that are owned by the people who own the church. They should be able to come up with how that process can get mounted, right? But you can see if we make this a movement, we can tackle humongous parts of this problem using the resources that we already have. Now, the larger problem that we're going to have, and are we doing okay on time? The larger problem that we're going to have is how do we get the schools to become available to the children who live in the school district? And what I mean is, now my preference is that we should go back to neighborhood schools and have like a very clean articulate arrangement or relationship between the schools and the neighborhood the school is in. Block clubs ought to be meeting, in those churches. Boy Scouts, adult education should be taking place, inside those churches or those school buildings. And of course, there should be broad-based after-school programs and so on. I don't know all of the union agreements, so I can't really get into the detail of what somebody can and cannot do. My position is, and it's probably just the strangeness, in the head of Nate Hare. My position is we as the public are paying for the schools. That's why they call them public schools. Remember we talked before, it's not the Publix, supermarket, it's the public school. It's not a franchise. It means that we own the school. We're also paying the salaries of the people that work in the school. They're public school employees. They work for the public. So it seems to me that if I'm hiring you to do something for me, I get to tell you what it is that I want you to do for me because I'm the one who's paying you. You can't take my money and then tell me this is all I'm going to do, for the money and whatnot. No, you should go someplace else. If you want to talk to me like that, go to West Seneca. But if you're in my district, right, I should be able to tell you what I'm buying, what I'm trying to pay for, right? And so we need to have a broad-based kind of rallying that takes place where we are getting to all of the decision makers, the Board of Education, the union chiefs, the City of Buffalo administration, anybody who's muscular in this process. And we have to say to them, I really don't care what you have to do to get this done. That's your problem. I'm telling you that I'm the one who's paying, and this is what I want for my money. This is what I'm paying for. I need for this school building to be open after school, 6:30, 7 o'clock or later, so that kids who live in the neighborhood of the school can do their after school programming at the school. And if you don't want to do it because you work 22 hours already in the school week teaching and whatnot, since you've already done that, you don't want to work any more hours, I'm not mad. Don't work any more hours. But you need to get out of the way and make it possible for either paid alternate staff or volunteers to come in and man those after-school activities. So we're going to come back to this, Lee. We're going to take our first break, and then we're going to get back into our subject, and I want to get into the Say Yes Education Initiative along the way. So if you all stick with us, we will sit inside of the break here at Think Again. Here at Living Right Now.
Do you want to increase your home's value? Do you want to lower your energy bills? Are you in need of affordable financing for your next home improvement project? The CAO Home Improvement Resource Program can help. Just come to their monthly HIRP orientation session every second Wednesday of the month at 564 Dodge Street, Building 400. HIRP staff will help identify the resources you need to get financed, and they'll even help you with completing your application. You won't know what you qualify for until you call them today at 881-6543. That's 881-6543. Learn about all the home improvement programs you may be eligible for and ask about the affordable financing program that can help turn your house into your dream home. Call 881-6543 for more info. It's the Home Improvement Resource Program, restoring value to neighborhoods across Erie County, one house at a time. Brought to you by the Community Action Organization of Erie County.
All right, welcome back to Living Now here at Power 96.5 FM on your dial here at WFO. I'm here with Emmanuel Radford, who's doing the live streaming of the program. And we're just picking up on this whole framework. I think that Emmanuel, I know you hear me talk about this stuff all the time, and I always bring you like all of this research, mountains of websites and books and so on. But the truth is, this is not a hard problem conceptually to solve. I mean, it really isn't. If we look at the places where schools work, you find that the parents in those school districts have very high expectations of their children. The idea that, well, my child is a mongoloid, my child has Down syndrome, my child has, can't hear, my child is dyslexic, my child can't walk. None of that stuff has anything to do with their perception about that child's absolute expectation to succeed in school. If you have to invent new machines to teach that child, invent the machines. You don't get to say, because this child is differently abled, I can't teach the child, right? Well, if being physically, challenged is not an acceptable reason for why your child can't learn, why would poverty be an acceptable reason why your child can't learn? I mean, poverty just means you don't have money. You can still walk, you can still, run, you can still see, you can still hear, right? So we are allowing people to put a framework in our heads and make us think that the reason why things are taking place the way that they are is because of something that in truth has nothing to do with the success of our children. This is a matter of will. We as a community of people have to say we don't accept anything other than excellence from our students and the people who teach and administer the teaching process for our students. We don't accept anything other than that. Anytime we see failure, not in a grade, failure in a passage that you didn't learn well from in your book, right then and there, you got to come in and say, oh, how did you miss that? Come over here, we have to remediate that right now. We got to fix that right now. Because if we fix it and we keep making our children understand that we expect the absolute best excellence from every one of our students, it is conveyed to the instructional staff, it's conveyed to the ancillary staff in the school, it's conveyed to the principals and the administrators of the school, and it's conveyed to the students. This is what is expected of me. Then you support that expectation. When the teachers say we need the parents to come, on such and such a night so we can kind of romance with you about what's going on, with your child, show up. Don't give an excuse. Show up. Tell somebody else who needs for you to post up with them because, they got some move they want to make in the street. Yeah, we can make that move. We got to make it after we get done taking our child to school to parent night. When the district has or a school building has some kind of recital, to me, anything that allows your child to perform is a recital. So it doesn't have to be a speech, right? But when there's an opportunity for you to see your children learning some of the things or showing off some of the things they've learned in school, you have to show up. There should be 400 or 500 people in the audience every single time there's a recital for these kids. What does that do? It means that other children whose parents don't show up Those children are looking at their parents and saying, well, Mom, what's going on? How come you didn't show up? Sally was here, Jamal was here, Tanika was here. I need for you to be there with me. Everybody else is looking to hear you. They want to see you, not just me. They want to see you, out there in the audience. You create expectations that go on between the children and the parents, the children and the school and the parents, the school and the children. If you do that, you start raising dramatically the expectations. In those suburban schools, that's normal. In those suburban schools, look at what happens when a child is failing in one of these suburban schools. You see heaven and earth being moved. What's wrong with Johnny? Did he lose his brain? What happened to him? Is he developmentally, challenged? What do we have to do? Get him tutoring, get him this, they're on it right then and there. They don't wait until, the NEAP test scores come out 2 years from now, to react, or that took place 2 years ago to react. They react in the moment, the very moment that the child shows the child is not learning what's being taught in that unit of instruction right then and there. Somebody reacts to it right then and there. That's what we have to do as a community of people. Now, please understand me when I say this. I realize this is a burden. This is a burden that I'm placing on you. I have to help you with understanding how I feel about this burden. I have my birth daughter, I have my stepdaughter, I have 4 female godchildren, I have 2 godsons. I raised them up. That was my burden. That's not somebody else's burden. That's my burden, right? That's what you have to accept. I didn't ask you to have these children. You can't put it on me and say, I had some kids, Nate, here's my kids. You can't do that. That doesn't work, because I'm physically unable to be muscular, in doing that. There's not enough Nate to do that. But if every one of us takes on our burden, this will get done. We can help each other. We can work together, and we can get this done. So children get socialized into groupings of people led by these gang chieftains, these what I call wannabe gangsters, and these people that draw their sense of personal power from influencing others to join their aberrant behavior. I call them, these are the clique masters, the ones that are the heads of little cliques and whatnot, wannabes and some outright criminals. They create a negative behavior standard other children feel they have to live down to in order not to be seen as sissies or punks. I'm telling you, at age 6, I learned how to control 2 different pair of craps in one hand. I could manipulate the craps between my fingers and hide the fact that I had them in my fingers. I spent time. I actually spent time. I mean, it's embarrassing. That's why I talk about it out loud. I actually spent time in my life, in my young life, learning how to do something that was absolutely completely useless to learn. What was the purpose of learning something like that? What was I going to do, grow up to be a crap player? I mean, why did I spend all of that energy learning how to do something that had absolutely no utility for me whatsoever? That was just crazy, right? But that's what I mean by living down to somebody else's downward expectations. They're so focused on trying to be cool and to represent in the street what it meant to be cool, and I'm trying to gain power or influence or standing, with them. So I start learning what they had learned, so I could represent how to be as low on the totem pole as they were on the totem pole. That's just nuts. That's just nuts. I was just fortunate. My mother taught me how to read when I was very young, when I was like 2.5 years old. So my ability to do school was way in excess of my social, my emotional maturity and whatnot. And luckily that allowed me to continue to progress to the point that I began to break away from one set of people with one set of influences and move into another set of people with a different set of influences. But life doesn't always work out that way for everybody, right? So we have to get out in front. The truth is that these clique masters, these wannabes, and these outright criminals are not going to be in the lives of the children that they influence forever. Adulthood, this just trust me when I say this. Adulthood comes to everyone unless you die. Adulthood comes to everyone. When it comes, you have to be on your way to economic and social independence, or you will find yourself scrapping in the streets, making illicit sales or stealing, being without skills, without credit. You can imagine making it in this planet today without credit. You can't even get a hotel room without credit. And, and often not having any real family support system. If we use the resources that are already in our hands, we can provide a happy and balanced life for our children under terms controlled and created by the people in our own communities, and we can shepherd our children en masse into successful adulthood. That's what you want. That's what you want. You want to pound away at this thing with Neil Dobbins, with Kenny Simmons, with Stop the Violence, with the Peacekeepers, with Letty, and you know, just you want to be in a movement that becomes so tangible, you know, that has such a physical a manifestation in our community that 5 or 6 years from now, people are talking about the school district in Buffalo as being one of the greatest school districts in the entire country because it is seeing such great success. It may not be that the school district is the greatest school district because we got some magic new way of teaching, but it can be the greatest school district if we create the magic inside of ourselves, because we can bring that to the dance every day all by ourselves with no money. This is just our will to get this done. At the end of the day, as much issue as I have with all of the people that have institutionally and personally done horrible things to races and classes of people, you know, in this society, at the end of the day, most of this is a battle that we can win if we make different decisions and stand together to make those decisions stand up. This is on us. We can get this. We have to pressure our schools to make the resource of the school buildings and the grounds of the school available to the communities the schools are in, and make possible the use of parents or paid community workers to operate after-school programs and or supervise neighborhood youth activities. Every school must be a school of excellence. Every child must succeed. Every one of us must promote excellence as our standard expectation of our children. Any variance from excellence must be met with alarm and immediate intervention. That's how we have to come together.
Call on one.
A community of people. I know we have a caller hanging on. I want to grab that call real quick. Hi, caller, are you there?
Yes. Good
Hey,
morning.
Mother Doyle, how you doing? All right.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
I was going to call in a little earlier, but I'm having a man put in central air for me.
Okay.
I can't stand it any longer.
90 degrees every day was just a little bit too much for you.
My house will be 25 years old in August. We built it 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I put off doing central air because I thought I could make it through the summer.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a highly unusual summer.
See, that's why it got warm like this.
For me next week, and I can't wait. I don't care about the cost at this point. But the reason I was calling, I think I heard you mentioning. I didn't hear the whole conversation about the churches.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to let you know and the community know. Yeah, I'm a member of First Shiloh Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
My pastor is Reverend Jonathan Staples.
Yep.
We're having a summer camp, which started last week, and there were so many people who wanted to get their children in the camp program because they're stressing academics,
Mm-hmm.
recreational programs, field trips. It's just a whole host of things. And we have some great volunteers. And so they had to turn people down
Mm-hmm.
because there were so many people, a lot of grandparents who
Yep.
wanted to get their children into something for the summer. So there's a real need for churches to open their doors and do. I'm sure there are other churches doing it, because I know people having vacation Bible school. But whatever they can do to help our children, to mentoring and to helping them with their academics, will make them a much stronger student when they go back to school.
Yep, and it'll make us a much stronger community too, right?
We don't have any more room now.
But it's a model. We just need to have more people doing it. Yep.
Yeah, this is what it's going to take. And I just kind of want to quickly respond to the article they had in the paper Sunday about the Say Yes program.
Right.
And, my granddaughter, Somalia, graduated from Madai May 18th, and she was in the Say Yes program for 4 years. But she did share with me that the first year was very hard. It was difficult because it was a real adjustment to the college life, being an independent student, an independent learner. But she got through that first year, because I think when you get through that first year, I think you're okay. But I will have to credit, she had mentors. She had professors there who helped her and who, gave her advice and so on. They have a really good school there. But it does take people staying with the student during that first year. It takes the family, it takes the mentorship and all of that to get you through. As a matter of fact, I had her speak to a group of seniors to tell them, to give them some advice on what they need to do and so forth. But she said, in order for you to stay in that Say Yes program, you got to keep your grades up. Because they check you every semester to make sure that you have good grades. So I just wanted to share that. And also, this Friday, I will be giving the Racism Award for the essay contest I did on racism. I had 5 winners. I had no intention of having 5 winners, Mr. Hare, but the essays were just that good. So excellent. I had to find some more money. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to share those 2 things with you. And so I'm looking forward to some cool air next week in my house.
Excellent.
Good day, Mr. Hare.
All right, Mother Dora. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's exactly on point. This is really a matter of us getting all of those people that can to do. And if we can get everybody who can to do, we have a chance of getting our arms around this whole thing. Let me just share a little bit of research with you. We talked a little bit about this last week. In terms of the kind of violence that children are exposed to, there are basically 5 sources, but the 3 main sources of violence that our children are exposed to are: 1, physical assault. Almost half of our children suffer physical assault at some point during the course of their life, from age 5 to age 17. Then property offenses. 1 out of every 4 of our children either has been robbed by somebody or their house has been robbed by somebody. 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4 of our children, age 5 to 17, actually witness violence either at home or in the community that they live in. So from an exposure perspective, the main sources of children's exposure to violence are being assaulted by someone else in their own environment, having their homes violated by robbery or some kind of breaking and entering, and actually witnessing violence themselves perpetrated by other people. So how would we reduce the normalization of violence in the life experience of our children? Because when you have violence taking place where 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 2 of the people in the entire community are all experiencing the same negative thing, obviously it's going to become learned behavior, where people are going to just say that's how it goes in our community. They will expect this. And whatever you expect of yourself, trust me, you're going to reap what you expect, okay? So how do we break this? 1, if we keep our children in some form of structured activities we've talked about before, starting immediately after school ends, and make this structure the normal staple of how we shepherd our children through their pre-18 lives, we will radically reduce the opportunity for serious physical assaults to occur. Second, We must ensure that whenever our children are not with us, that they are in an environment where trusted, caring adults are around. Now parents, you must accept. Please don't get mad at me, okay? Just accept this. Your kids are going to get sick of you. They're going to get sick of you governing every single second of their lives. They're going to get sick of you saying you got to be here and not be there. They're going to get tired of all of the oversight that you are engaging in over their lives. Here's what you tell your kids. Tell them that your job is to get them into adulthood without getting shot or stabbed, getting stomped or sexually abused, with enough learned academic skill that they're able to get into a vocational certification or a degree conferring program leading to a strong economic career. That's your job. All that other stuff, that's not my job. All the stuff you're thinking about on TV, I don't know what the records now. They used to be, vinyl records. It's the CDs now. Whatever, they're electronic, whatever they call those things now, right? That's not what the deal is. It's not wearing your pants where they're so tight at the ankle you can't tell. I don't even know what them kind of pants are all about, right? But my point is that we allow our children to be hung up on these fads and so on, and not hung up on what they have to do to succeed for the rest of their lives. We're not talking about what makes you popular or acceptable amongst the community of people that you're in the 11th grade with or you're in the 6th grade with. That's not where the win is. The win is that you are able to get through high school, get into a degree conferring program or a certificate conferring program that leads you to a career where you start out making $35,000, $45,000, $55,000 a year to start, and you continue to grow from there. And if your company falls apart, your skills are strong enough and they're are used by a wide enough population of people that you can get a job someplace else in your community, or if you have to, move to another community and get a job because you can show your certification, right? So listen, we got to take a quick break. Lee's saying you got to take care of the show or take care of the sponsors. So if you all stick with us, we will see you on the other side of the break here at Living Right Now.
Do you want to increase your home's value? Do you want to lower your energy bills? Are you in need of affordable financing for your next home improvement project? The CAO Home Improvement Resource Program can help. Just come to their monthly HIRP orientation session every second Wednesday of the month at 564 Dodge Street, Building 400. HIRP staff will help identify the resources you need to get financed, and they'll even help you with completing your application. You won't know what you qualify for until you call them today at 881-6543. That's 881-6543. Learn about all the home improvement programs you may be eligible for and ask about the affordable financing program that can help turn your house into your dream home. Call 881-6543 for more info. It's the Home Improvement Resource Program, restoring value to neighborhoods across Erie County, one house at a time. Brought to you by the Community Action Organization of Erie County.
All right, welcome back to Living Now here at WFO Power 96.5 FM on your dial. I'm here with Emmanuel Radford, who's doing the live streaming of the program. And on that Home Improvement Resource Program, don't miss that. I mean, that's free money. People are taking money out of your electric bill and your gas bill every month. You don't even know it. It's like $3, $4, $6, depending on how big your bill is. They take that money and it goes away to something called NYSERDA, New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, and it doesn't go to the state legislature. They get to do what they want to do with that money. That's almost $1 billion a year. Yeah, $1 billion in fees are collected every year in this surcharge that is taken out of your utility bill that you pay. Well, you get that money back if you're wise by going through something like the Home Improvement Resource Program. Sam Radford, Patricia Elliott, our folks over at the Rafi Green Maston Resource Center, and they will help you determine which of the because everybody's eligible for something. So they'll tell you which programs you're eligible for, and then help you to get the energy audits done so you know what needs to be done to help you to lower your utility bills, What do you lose? You get free money, and as a result of the free money, somebody lowers your utility cost by $50, $60 a month. Why are you not jumping on that right away? You need to call, and the number is 332 right. So the area code 716 332 3773. 332-3773. So, we had talked last week about the risks that are associated with children's exposure to violence. We talked about depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, behavioral developmental problems that children wind up incurring as a consequence of being exposed to all of this violence. That can also affect their academic achievement, and it's associated with increased stress even amongst the caregivers, amongst the people that have to take care of these kids. So how can you address these things? First thing you have to do, stop judging yourself as if a child who is showing any of these kinds of risks is your fault. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. If your child's got anxiety, your child has anxiety. Whoever's fault it is not going to change the fact that your child has anxiety. So instead of worrying about whose fault it is, start worrying about what you're going to do to address that anxiety, in your child. Second, once a child starts to demonstrate these kinds of issues, fault is irrelevant. Correcting the risk is the only thing that is relevant. Second, accept the fact that excessive anxiety, depression, inability to move past the traumatic incident, and so on, are not normal behaviors, and they do not correct themselves easily. If your child is suffering from depression, just saying, baby's got depression, that's not going to make depression go away. Baby's got anxiety, that's not going to make it go away. Post-traumatic stress disorders, where the child's got these traumatic, incidents that are running around in a child's mind, just replaying themselves inside a child's mind like an endless recording tape that just keeps replaying over and over and over again. That's not going to go away over time. You have to help that go away. So you need to go to someplace, a health provider like the community health center, if you're low on funds, or to whatever pediatric child care your insurance will cover, and help your child get through a difficult stage of her or his life development. The closer you keep your child to structure in her or his life, the more positive things your child will be hearing on a day-to-day basis. Your child will be around other children who are making positive strides in their lives. The basic paradigm of human development will govern the growth and development of your child. That paradigm is that you become what you hear. Create positive imagery, affirmations, self-beliefs in your children, and they will transform into adult exemplars of those beliefs and traits. This is not rocket science. However, it does require a great deal of persistence. It requires a great deal of time. You're going to be at this for at least 18 to 20 years for each one of your children. So if you're going to have kids, have them close together so the 18, 20, so that period gets done within 20, 25 years and whatnot. But if you made the decision that you're going to be a parent, you have also made the decision that you're going to have to be willing to put this kind of effort up with your children day to day over the course of this 18 to 20 year period. Adults must simply model positive values and self-affirmation in front of every child they encounter, so that their self-belief, their self-effort, their self-high expectations become the norm in the communities that the children walk in. So we talked about some of these things. I won't get into all of that. I want to get into, before going back down this thing on parent stress. But I think I want to do is, before I go down there, I want to get through this piece that came up in Sunday's newspaper regarding the Say Yes Education Initiative in Buffalo that Mother Doyle was talking about. And let me just pull from you, this is a report, U.S. college dropout rate and dropout statistics. And the college dropout rate, 56% of college students who start a 4-year college drop out by the 6th year of their college career. Now, when I was going to college, you were expected to finish in 4 years. finishing in 6 years was like weak, right? Now they're talking like, let's call it a dropout if the person drops out within 6 years of finishing college. That's a little odd for me, but it shows you how our expectations have been watered down. So instead of expecting everybody to go to college or go to a vocational training program and finish, in the 2-year or 4-year, point to get that certification or to get that degree, now we sort of watered this thing down. Now if you get an associate's degree within 6 years, you're considered to be a success. So that's part of the issue that we have to address. Full-time students are 55% less likely to drop out of college than students who go to school exclusively part-time. So the importance of that is you got to find a way to help your child to be able to go to school and not have to work more than part-time, if at all, while they're going to school. That means the price of you not having to work full-time is you don't get to go to the Rathskeller. You don't get to go to the Departmental Bar, over on Parkside Avenue. You're going to study, because the time you don't have to spend working, you have to spend that time learning in order to make it a value that your parents have given you by making it possible for you to go to school without having to work. But if you do have to work, you want the child to have to be able to get away with working part-time and not having to work full-time. College is going to take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of your day every day between classes and studying and reading all of the books. Every course I took when I was in my freshman year had at least 5 different books I had to read. So I took 7 courses. So in a 17-week period, I had to read 35 books, in addition to doing all of the projects that they wanted me to do when I was a freshman. You have to have the skill sets to be able to do that. That doesn't happen by itself. You have to learn how to do that.